You can look up who owns almost any piece of property in Missouri in about 30 seconds. County assessor websites list the owner, the acreage, the assessed value, and in most cases, a mailing address. The system is public. It is designed to be public. Property ownership is a matter of record in a functioning democracy because the public has an interest in knowing who controls the land around them. The system works as long as the owner is a person with an address or a company that wants you to know who it is. When the owner is a limited liability company registered in Delaware with a name that tells you nothing, controlled by investors whose identities the formation documents do not require to be disclosed, connected to other entities through a structure designed to put as many legal layers as possible between the land and the people who benefit from it. The system produces a name. It just does not produce a useful answer. There are things on Missouri's maps that are labeled but not explained. There are things that are not on the maps at all. And there are things the maps show you that are technically accurate and functionally misleading. This video is about all three categories. Subscribe right now, hit the button and the bell. The first thing Missouri's maps will not show you is who actually owns the large parcels of Ozarks land, whose owners appear in county records as entities rather than people. A federal disclosure law from 1978, the Agricultural Foreign Investment Disclosure Act, requires foreign investors to report agricultural land holdings to the USDA. Missouri also has state-level records. When investigators compared the two, they found that in dozens of Missouri counties, none of the farms registered with the federal government as foreign-owned appeared in county records with foreign addresses. Two official systems tracking the same thing, arriving at completely different results. Nobody has explained the discrepancy on the record. The Missouri Walnut Company registered to a business in China, operating in Berry County and Taney County in the Ozarks appears in federal disclosures. It does not appear in county records as foreign-owned. Both records exist. Both are technically available to the public. Neither tells you the complete story when read alone. Missouri passed a law in 2015 removing the requirement that foreign buyers notify the state agriculture department before acquiring land. After 2015, the notification that would have told the state a foreign entity was buying a Missouri farm. The one piece of information that could have connected the federal records to the county records in real time was no longer required. The gap in the maps is not an accident, it is a policy. Hit the like button, it tells the algorithm this story matters. The second thing Missouri's maps will not show you is the 42,000 acres that went under Lake of the Ozarks in 1931. The Lake of the Ozarks is on every Missouri map. What the maps do not show is what was there before the lake. The Osage River Valley that the lake replaced contained more than 20 functioning communities, thousands of acres of bottomland farms, and Old Lynn Creek, the county seat of Camden County, with its courthouse and churches and cemetery that went underwater when Bagnell Dam was completed. The lake appears on the map as a geographic feature, the county seat that existed before it appears nowhere on any map, because it is approximately 30 feet underwater. The families who lived in the valley were relocated. The county's seat of government was moved to a new town on higher ground. The history of what was drowned to create one of Missouri's most popular recreational lakes is not on any standard map. It is in KCUR's archives and in the memory of families whose grandparents remembered when the lake was a river valley. The third thing Missouri's maps will not show you is the underground. The Ozarks cave system beneath the plateau has over 6,500 known caves, underground rivers, and spring systems connecting communities in ways the surface map cannot represent. What enters the ground in one county can emerge in another county's drinking water supply days later. The karst topography moves water rapidly and without the filtration that most people assume groundwater systems provide. The Missouri DNR has a groundwater monitoring program. The Ozark Aquifer is mapped in a general sense. What is not mapped, what cannot be mapped at the resolution that would make it useful, is the specific flow paths connecting individual sinkholes to individual springs across hundreds of miles of connected cave and fracture. A contamination event entering the system at one point can emerge at another point that no surface map would lead you to connect to the first. When water managers in southwest Missouri say they cannot fully predict where aquifer contamination will emerge, they mean it literally. The underground plumbing of the Ozarks is known in outline and unknown in detail. and the detail is where the drinking water decisions get made. The fourth thing Missouri's maps will not show you is Bloodland. Bloodland, Missouri, in Pulaski County, was a functioning community that was demolished by the United States Army in 1941 to make room for Fort Leonard Wood. The town no longer exists. Its location is inside a military installation that civilians cannot access. It does not appear on any publicly available map. The county road that ran through it is not accessible. The foundations of the buildings are gone. The church bell was removed to Waynesville before demolition and still stands there as the town's only surviving physical remnant. If you look at a map of Pulaski County and search for Bloodland, you will not find it. It has been erased from the cartographic record as completely as it was erased from the ground. The families who were from Bloodland knew they were from Bloodland. The military installation that occupies where Bloodland was does not advertise this history. It has no particular reason to. The fifth thing Missouri's maps will not show you is the water underneath the land that is currently being acquired by outside buyers. The Ozark Aquifer is shown on geological maps as a groundwater formation. What those maps do not show, what no map currently available to the public shows, is the connection between surface land ownership and the groundwater rights that are attached to it. Whoever owns the land above the aquifer has legal access to the water beneath it under Missouri law. As outside entities acquire large Ozarks land parcels, they are also acquiring the groundwater rights those parcels carry. In a region where southwest Missouri communities are already passing emergency legislation because the aquifer as currently used cannot sustain the region's projected growth through 2060. The map shows who owns the land, sort of. It does not show what owning the land means for what is below it. It does not show the aquifer depletion trajectory. It does not show the neighboring states that passed water proposals Missouri had to pass a law to block. It does not show the data center developers moving toward rural Missouri, each facility requiring millions of gallons of water per day. The map is not lying to you. It is just not telling you everything. Missouri's public records are genuinely available. The county assessor websites are real. The federal land ownership disclosures are real. The DNR's groundwater data is real. The historical records documenting what went underwater in 1931 are real. The picture these records produce when you find them and put them together is not the picture most people have when they think about Missouri and the Ozarks. The maps show you where things are. They are considerably quieter about what those things actually are, who owns them, what is happening to them, and what the ground below them holds. The truth is, in the records, it just requires someone to read them and put them in the same place at the same time. The sixth thing Missouri's maps will not show you is the New Madrid fault system beneath the southeastern corner of the state. Missouri's standard geographic and road maps show the Booth Heel as flat delta farmland, cotton country, rice fields, rich alluvial soil deposited by the Mississippi River over thousands of years of seasonal flooding. What they do not show is the New Madrid seismic zone running directly beneath it. The zone produced a series of earthquakes in 1811 and 1812, estimated at magnitude 7.5 to 8.8, the largest earthquakes in American history. Church bells rang in Boston. The Mississippi ran backward. A forest the size of a city sank beneath the surface and formed Reelfoot Lake in Tennessee, where the tree trunks are still visible underwater. The seismic hazard mapping for the New Madrid zone is available from the USGS. It shows the Booth Heel as one of the highest seismic risk areas in the central United States. The soft alluvial soil that makes the farmland productive amplifies seismic waves in ways that bedrock does not. A major event on the zone today would affect 31 states. The road map shows county roads and state highways. It does not show fault lines. Most people who drive through the Boot Heel on their way to Memphis or Nashville have no idea that the flat farmland they are crossing is sitting on one of the most significant geological hazards in the interior of North America. The USGS map is public. It is just not the map people use when they drive. The seventh thing Missouri's maps will not show you is who is currently acquiring land in the Ozarks through the data center development corridor. Data center developers announced multiple large campus proposals in rural Missouri counties in early 2026, hundreds of acres at a time, near rural highway interchanges by companies based in Atlanta and Texas and California, who have identified rural Missouri as favorable for large-scale data infrastructure due to land cost, available power, and the absence of organized local opposition. The county maps show agricultural land and zoning designations. They do not show which parcels are under option agreements, which are in early acquisition discussions, or which have been quietly assembled into larger holdings by entities planning facilities that will require millions of gallons of water per day from whatever aquifer system sits beneath them. Missouri's county-level property records are updated when transactions close. They are not updated when option agreements are signed or when land is being assembled through multiple LLCs in preparation for a large-scale acquisition that the county commission may not have been told is coming. The map of who is actively acquiring Ozarks land today does not exist in any form the public can access, because the transactions that are forming it have not closed yet, and the option agreements are not public records. Missouri's maps show you the rivers, the roads, the county lines, the state parks, and the national forest boundaries. They are accurate documents. They show you where things are. They are considerably quieter about what those things are, who controls them, what is happening to them, and what the ground below them is doing. The real map of Missouri, the one that would show you the foreign-linked land ownership, the underground aquifer connections, the PFAS migration pathways, the seismic hazard, the communities that were drowned to build the lakes, and the data center acquisition corridors currently being assembled, does not exist in a single place. It exists in federal databases, state agency reports, academic research papers, county property records, EPA Superfund files, military environmental disclosures, and USGS seismic maps that almost nobody looks at simultaneously. Putting it together requires reading things that are genuinely public but genuinely difficult to find in the same place at the same time. This video is one attempt at that. Subscribe if you have not, hit the bell, drop a comment, what would you put on a real Missouri map? Because the things the official maps leave off are usually the most interesting things to know. Thank you for watching. The truth does not shout. It waits for you to look closer. The eighth thing Missouri's maps will not show you is the most recent layer of change. The data center development moving into rural Missouri, right now approved and proposed projects in Warrenton, Forestell, Franklin County, Montgomery County represents a new kind of land transformation that county zoning maps capture only after the fact. The option agreements, the preliminary site studies, the conversations between real estate brokers and out-of-state developers about which rural Missouri parcels might work for a 400-acre campus requiring access to transmission lines and significant water. None of this appears on any publicly available map until a transaction closes or a zoning application is filed. By the time a zoning application appears on a county planning commission agenda, the development has typically been in planning for months or years. The community gets a public comment period after the important decisions have already been made privately. The data center developers have already assessed the water availability, the transmission access, the labor pool, and the regulatory environment before anyone in the county is formally informed that the proposal exists. The map of what is coming to rural Missouri exists in the internal documents of companies that are not required to share it. What the map shows after the fact, the approved zoning, the recorded deed, the permitted facility, is the permanent version of a decision that was substantially made before the public had access to it. The map is accurate, it is just always behind. The real Missouri map, the one that would show you the full picture of what is happening to the land, the water, the ownership structures, and the arriving infrastructure would require simultaneous access to federal foreign ownership disclosures, county assessor records, DNR, groundwater data, military environmental disclosures, USGS seismic hazard mapping, county planning commission agendas, and the internal project files of development companies operating in the state. That map does not exist in one place. This video is one attempt to describe what it would show if it did.